Good evening. As we continue to pray for our nation during this time, the scriptures truly help us to reflect upon this whole idea of who is Jesus Christ for you and for me. As Jesus in Mark chapter 12 continued the dialogue with the scribes, the teachers of the law, as he asked his questions, how do the scribes claim that Christ is the Son of David? The Messiah, is he the Son of David? He is more than the Son of David. He comes from the descendant of David, but in a way he is not the Son of David. But also Jesus also presenting and clarifying for the scribes and the Pharisees, they listened to his teaching, that he is not the Messiah that he is expecting, or that they are expecting of Jesus. Because they are anticipating this Messiah who's to come, who's going to continue that reign of David. The Messiah of great power. The Messiah comes with great dominance, overcoming the Roman Empire. But Jesus said no. This new Messiah who is to come, who must suffer, who must come and rule over those who experience great persecutions. So as Jesus expounds further in the new meaning and the renewed meaning of who the Messiah is, here in Mark chapter 12, we see the reaction of the crowd. As Mark wrote here, the great crowds heard with delight. So if we were to hear and listen to Jesus' teaching today, what is your reaction? Will you accept Jesus' teaching with great joy, with great delight, or will you reject it? Because maybe the message of Jesus' teaching is too hard for you and for me to accept and to agree upon. Following Jesus Christ, we also see Paul, the great missionary, disciples of Jesus, and he trained others to follow him. And so now you see how he's mentoring Timothy in this second letter of Timothy. He continues to guide him. And so this is part of his saying to Timothy today. And maybe it's a saying to all of us as we come to learn to embrace that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God. But you, Timothy, remain faithful to what you have learned and believe. Remain faithful to what you have learned and believe. A great invitation, not only for Timothy, but to all of us here on this 21st century. Remain faithful and believe that Jesus is the Messiah, the suffering servants of the Lord, who died on the cross and who rise after 3 days. This is who Jesus is for us. Today we honor St. Boniface, who truly exemplary as a bishop, also a missionary, disciples of Jesus Christ in the 6th and 7th centuries, as he joined the Benedictine order. One who learned to pray as well as to work, but also as a missionary, he truly transformed the faith of our German people in the Netherlands as well. What was great and beautiful about who Boniface is and was for the life of the church, he truly exemplified what Paul talks about today as an invitation to all of us. He remained faithful and continued to believe and evangelize the faith to all those, what we call back in the days, the pagans, the non-believers. Truly, in this great creativity in the writings of Boniface has transformed that part of the nations where the church now have given that title. He's the apostles of the Germans. And one of the beautiful saying or quotation that had become known in Boniface, it is this: in her voyage across the oceans of this world, The church is like a great ship being pounded by the waves of life's different stresses. Our duty is not to abandon ship, but to keep her on her course. Let us stand fast in what is right and prepare our souls for trials. Let us wait upon God's strengthening aid and say to him, O Lord, you have been our refuge in all generations. O Lord, you have been our refuge in all generations. Our duty is not to abandon ship, but to keep her course. During this time, too, of the pandemic, during this time of our nation's unrest, we, too, as a church, cannot abandon the ship or abandon God's people. We need to be that voice for those who have no voice, the voice of justice, the voice to end all racism, to end all discriminations, because we are all created in God's image and likeness. A voice that can never be silenced, because we need to protect all human dignity. So in Boniface today, we also need to find that great courage to stand up and to speak. Some of us may walk as a protesters. Some of us may use different forms on different social media platforms to allow that voice of justice to be heard, that voice of peace, that voice of love, that voice of dialogue, that voice of common ground that needs to be heard. As Boniface said here, let us stand fast in what is right and prepare our souls for trials. Yes, Boniface stood in trials, just as Paul did, just as Jesus Christ the Messiah did. He suffered martyrdoms on this day of June 5th among his followers of more than 50 people who died that day. So as Boniface transformed the church in Germany, maybe it is time for us to continue to be that voice to transform our nations. A voice of dignity, a voice of justice and peace. That we cannot be silenced no longer, because silence truly is complicit. Because we would not allow another person to say, I can't breathe.